the Ducati Streetfighter V4 has certainly established its supremacy in the hallowed super naked segment and is a lethally powerful, mind-numbingly quick motorcycle. And the follow-up act to it is this, the Streetfighter V2.
But does this motorcycle have the same appeal as its massively desirable elder sibling? Time to find out. The first thing to notice here is the fact that the Streetfighter V2 looks identical to the V4, and that means it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Having said that, there is a bit of a sinister feel to the face, just like the V4, thanks to the headlamp design that's inspired by the Joker. The fuel tank, instrument cluster display and seat all look identical to the Streetfighters too. So at first glance, you may get confused.
But there are a few differences as compared to the V4. Notice how the winglets are missing on this one, and also how the exhaust is not an underbelly unit. Not that I mind these changes though, because this rear end is exactly the same and is the same gorgeous looking unit straight off the Panigale, and so is the single-sided swing arm.
So while I do like the Streetfighter's menacing looks and hunkered down stance from the front, I have to admit it's the rear end that looks far more eye-catching, especially with the beautifully designed cowl, exposed rear wheel and the 180 section tire on it.
And now let's talk about the biggest differentiator, the engine. The Streetfighter V2 here has absolutely nothing to do with that brilliant V4 we've seen on the bigger Streetfighter. But don't be disappointed just yet, because what you get here is the Panigale V2's 955cc L2N engine that offers 153 PS, and the curb weight of this motorcycle is just 200 kg. Now do the math.
With so much performance on offer and an excellent power to weight ratio, the Streetfighter V2 is capable of hitting 100 km/h in just a little over 3 seconds, which is superbike territory. So while it may not be a full-blown leader class motorcycle, the Streetfighter V2 is quick enough to have you run out of road very quickly, thanks to its ability to get to serious speeds in no time at all.
But somehow I have to admit, Ducati's V4 engine has really spoilt me. And that's because it feels a lot smoother than the V2 here, but more importantly, I'm somehow missing that scary feeling that the V4 offers every single time I open the throttle, and this motorcycle here feels a lot easier to control when you're accelerating hard.
But don't get me wrong, because the Streetfighter V2 is no slouch. You will find yourself short shifting on public roads most of the times simply because there's way too much performance as you go higher up the rev range. That's also partly because the engine here is straight off a fully fed sports bike, so the power delivery does get progressively stronger as you rev harder. And just like every other Ducati V-twin, the V2's engine is not happy at low revs, and in fact you have to keep it spinning about 3000 RPM at all times.
So while the V4 absolutely loves wheelies, the Streetfighter V2 here is quite the wheelie machine too, because the peak torque of 101 Nm is produced at just 9000 RPM. So all you have to do is drop levels on the wheelie control, open the throttle wide and ride that wave of torque.
Being able to ride a big bike on one wheel is considered high art in the world of performance motorcycling, and the Streetfighter V2 really encourages such antics with its kind of performance, balance, and most importantly, the precise throttle control that makes wheelies so easy. You get 3 riding modes, sport, road and wet, And you can also customize various parameters in each mode like engine power, ABS intervention, and even slide-by brake. The bottom line is, you get some of the most cutting-edge electronics on the Streetfighter V2, making for an electronic suite that's comparable to some of the flagship motorcycles that sit a segment above it.
One of the biggest highlights on the dynamics front have to be the tires on this motorcycle, because you get a set of really sticky Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4s, and they offer excellent grip and really let you lean the motorcycle into corners.
The tires on the V2 also use an extremely rounded side profile, which allows you to drop the bike into corners and lean in very quickly. In fact, the Streetfighter V2's cornering abilities are comparable to fully fed superbikes thanks to its tires. The front end also inspires a lot of confidence, especially when it comes to changing direction quickly around switchbacks and chicanes.
What I'm also impressed with is the suspension on this motorcycle, because it's not threatening to break my back even on less than perfect roads. Because what I've got here is a set of fully adjustable Showa big piston forks at the front and a fully adjustable monoshock at the rear.
The suspension does a brilliant job of absorbing bumps, ruts and potholes, and truth be told, I was surprised at how well the Streetfighter V2 was able to soak up everything despite its intent as a sporty, go-fast motorcycle, and more importantly, despite it not getting the V4's semi-active electronically controlled suspension. So besides its excellent handling, the V2's impressive ride quality is certainly a highlight here too.
So, to finally answer the big question, and I'm convinced that this motorcycle has the same charm as its elder sibling. It really delivers the goods. And at its price, the Streetfighter V2 is an expensive motorcycle, and for the kind of money that you'll spend on this one, you could actually buy yourself a more powerful Japanese superbike. But this is a Ducati, and the guys at Bologna
really know how to make a motorcycle that will first make you go weak in the knees with its looks. I mean, just look at this design and this brilliant shade of red. And once you start riding it, you just can't stop giggling inside your helmet.